Happening this morning, jurors set to resume deliberations in the Aaron Dean trial. Now up to them to decide if that former Fort Worth police officer was justified when he shot and killed Atatiana Jefferson in 2019.
Chris Sadeghi is live in Fort Worth this morning. And Chris, we heard those closing arguments yesterday, right?
Yes, Ariel, the judge sequestered the jury overnight. This after they deliberated 8 hours yesterday, contemplating the evidence and even asking to see some of it again. They asked to see Post-it notes that were presented at trial, along with some photos and some other evidence. They will have to make a determination on Aaron Dean's intent and his actions from that night 3 years ago when he shot and killed Atatiana Jefferson in her home while he investigated what he thought was a burglary. Over the course of this trial, prosecution and defense have broken down his every move from that body camera video. And in closing arguments, the defense said that the former Fort Worth police officer fired his weapon because Jefferson pointed a gun at him, while the state has highlighted Dean's errors in not only his police work, but also his judgment.
He never saw that gun. He didn't know what he saw. He was hard charging. He was gung-ho. He finally got some action. And he was going to pull his weapon. And because of that, Atatiana will never breathe again.
The tragedy should not be compounded by finding guilty a man who was relying on his rights as a police officer and his rights under the laws of the state of Texas.
And the options before this jury in their verdict: they can convict Aaron Dean of murder, they can convict him on the lesser charge of manslaughter, or they could acquit him. Mark and Ariel.
Chris, thanks so much for that. You know, we'll probably have a lot of people paying attention to what comes out of today. What is the difference between murder and manslaughter?
Well, that determination will speak to the intent and what the jury finds Aaron Dean's intent was on that night. In the state of Texas, for murder, that is when you determine that he committed his actions intentionally and knowingly. Though manslaughter, they determined that his actions were reckless more so than intentional. Back to you.
Chris, thanks so much for that report. Make sure you stick with WFAA throughout the day, and as soon as that verdict is delivered, we'll be on the air with a decision from the jury.